a wonderful day. I am Marcia Gordon, owner at Marcia's Healthcare here, and I'm also the administrator. And we are located in Broward and Palm Beach. There are two locations, and if you are out there and you're looking for a job, you can always call us. We are always taking applications. We are also Medicaid certified, so if you have a loved one at home that needs care, you can reach out to us. Our numbers are 954-816-2170. Yes, today is Women's Day, and we have two powerful women with us. We have Dr. Karen Lewis, and we have retired Lana Patterson, who is a teacher by nature, yes. So today we're going to have Dr. Karen, who will be introducing.
Pleasure of knowing Lana Patterson. I met her a few years ago, and she is an educator. She has dedicated 42 years to the teaching profession. She's a quintessential educator. Her capacity to motivate and captivate the adolescent scholar transcends the act of teaching, because she was recognized within the top 1% of Florida educators in student achievement. Lana motivates her students and effectively facilitates their learning with extensive documentation of success.
Okay.
Her distinguished career and subsequent retirement have afforded her the ability or the opportunity to actively motivate tomorrow's educational leaders, more recently as a guest on the Leadership Podcast with Dr. Shernette Grant. She's an active educator and was recognized by ABC Local 10 Television Network as an outstanding contributor to student success in Broward County, and that is in the state of Florida.
Okay.
Certainly, her effervescent demeanor and capacity to captivate an audience have contributed to her being a lasting influence. She's a stalwart in her profession and community. She engendered the power to lead others and to be the best that they can be. She's a great example of how best to be a well-rounded woman. She is the epitome of excellence. She's a beloved church leader and a community representative. I now give you Lana Patterson.
Hi, Lana.
Hello.
Hi, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Okay, so as a woman, what do you love most about teaching in the US and Jamaica? Go ahead.
Wow. Well, thank you for having me on your show. Good afternoon, everyone. Now, what do I love about teaching? I just love everything about teaching. You said teaching in Jamaica versus teaching in the US?
Yes.
For me, teaching is just teaching. It doesn't matter where you are. As a matter of fact, I had the privilege of teaching in Africa.
Mm.
And I was able to work with 36 of their educators there. And I also was able to work in one of their middle schools. So teaching is just the same wherever you go. You're just working with people, be it adults or children.
Okay.
My passion for teaching, especially mathematics, is one of the highlights of my career. What I love about teaching is that with working with children, I just get that immense satisfaction in nurturing young minds, whether it is in or out of the classroom, whether it was in Jamaica or here in the United States, because I get the opportunity that most people don't get, and that is preparing them for real world challenges. If you're able to make that difference in the classroom, and when you prepare children for real world situations, then you're going to find that they are going to fit into the world much easier. Teaching mathematics, you know, you will agree with me that many people find mathematics challenging, a very challenging subject. But for me, oh my God, I just found joy in sharing my knowledge and sparking curiosity in my students, because math is real.
I agree.
It's all around you.
I agree. Miss Lano,
Everything is based on mathematics.
Miss
Wow.
Lano,
And I don't understand why people find it so difficult.
Miss
Hold on.
Lano,
For
Miss
me,
Lano.
Lana,
yeah.
Karen has
I
a
was
question.
saying that I agree with you. I used to tell my boys that mathematics is like a language. You have to write it out systematic, because this is this and that is that, then this is this. And if you see, and I think probably because of the exposure, and I'm happy that you are there, but I think what happened is because of the early exposure to math. If they never get a good start, it's gonna be always difficult.
I think.
No, you just hit it right on the nail. If they didn't get a good start. And like I tell people all the time, that's the most important thing in math. It's laying that foundation. And I always liken it to building a house. If you build a house and the house doesn't have a good foundation, it's not going to stand for long.
True.
So I quite agree with you. So I'm sure that your boys are doing good in math.
Right, Karen?
Yes, that's one of their best subjects.
Very good. And you know, that is the beauty about teaching math, because, you know, when you see those faces light up, and you know that you did your best to reach every single child in the classroom. It doesn't matter if you have those bright ones, we call them bright, or those high achievers, but you can't forget those who are struggling.
Right.
Because those who are struggling, if you pay attention to them and really lay that foundation, they can become high achievers, just as much as those who just have the natural ability. Do you agree with me?
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes. And as I say to you, it's probably because of their introduction to math. If they probably got a better view on it from day one, they would have liked it more.
Yes. And I tell you what, one of the things I always do in my classroom, in the first week of school, is I try to identify my students by way of knowing whether or not they like mathematics. Now, if you like mathematics, you just can't write me a sentence that I like or love mathematics. You have to tell me why.
Wow.
And if you don't like mathematics, you have to tell me why. And, you know, I was always saddened by some of the things the children would write, the things teachers would say to students in the classroom that would turn them off.
Right.
And that to me was very important, to know my haters. So I used to tell them, if you hate math, it means that you hate me and I don't even know you. But you already hate me. Why? So we have to work on this. So that hatred has to turn to love, you know? So now I have to build the confidence in these students, because they come to me hating a subject that is very important.
Wow.
And then what I loved about teaching is to see those haters turning around, you know, being able to change a negative attitude towards math and helping those students to develop confidence and a sense of accomplishment in the subject. That was one of my greatest joys, to be able to change the negative that other people instill in them and to turn it around and to show them that they can be successful.
Awesome. Yes. I like that.
I also like, you know, the fact that even now, I was just going through some stuff in shredding papers and all of that. And believe it or not, I still have love letters from my students in Jamaica 42 plus years ago
Wow.
that I sit and read over and over, you know.
Wow. You should save those for your book.
So yes, I do have a lot of these days from my students and parents who have, you know, sent to say thank you. And even now, I still keep in touch with my students. As a matter of fact, my first job out of high school before going to college or anything, I met this student in my first classroom. And I just fell in love with this student. And do you believe that that child has become my adopted daughter? Not officially, but I was able to spend Thanksgiving in Delaware with her.
Great.
And that was from my first classroom.
Wow, that's nice.
Yes. So.
Yeah, Lano, I'm really happy that, you know, you have taken the time out, and I suppose that's your gift with math, because math is one of those subjects that children do very poorly in. And it's not just because they don't like the subject. Sometimes it's the teacher's approach, because not everybody can teach math. Some people know how to do math but can't teach math, can't pass it on. I remember my first child, he was okay, he had a very good aptitude towards learning, and I suppose he probably would call him a gifted student in that case. But in elementary school, he never used to get good grades in math. And that's because he never used to, you know, in math you have to write out the reason you get your answer. You have to write out each solution, each problem. This child, he wasn't understanding that. So he would just get a problem and put down the answer because he's solving it in his head. So he's not writing out the steps.
Right.
You hearing me, Lano?
Yes, I'm hearing.
So he's not writing out the steps. So it was way later on that I didn't know why he wasn't getting a good grade in math, because his teacher never told me. She just saying, you know, he's not doing what he's supposed to do, until when I realized that he wasn't just writing out the steps. And that's why he came to the answer, but he was solving everything in his head. And I remember when he finally reached to high school, that the kids thought he was stupid.
Oh.
Because
why would
when
the children say that it had to do with something that it must be the teacher's response?
Whenever he spoke, they couldn't understand him. He was speaking at a university level, and they were speaking at a high school level. So the teacher understood him and was very, but the children themselves didn't realize that he is like, what you're saying don't make any sense to them, because they couldn't understand what he was saying.
Well, what the teacher could have done, if I had a child like that in my classroom, then what I would do is use the child to, you know, involve the child, get the child to explain to the students what he was doing.
But what the teacher did was advance him. So she put him in a side of the class and gave him the advanced work, so he wasn't able to disrupt her class, as she would put it. So she put him in.
That wasn't right.
So she put him aside and gave him advanced work. So he did all the advanced work while the class did the regular work, and he did it on his own, basically.
Wow. He could have assist her.
No, but she
in
should
teaching
not
the
have
class.
singled out the child like that.
Right. She could have him assist her.
Yes.
In the class. Yeah.
Right.
That's what most teachers do. Yeah. In those cases.
But that's the right thing to do.
So what
she
did?
When you assign the independent work to the children, then you give him work by himself.
So what she did was give him work by himself and then taught her class.
Wow. So he's like left out of.
No, but that's fine. Yes. But he was able to complete the work, the advanced work, by himself. So she would look at and she did motivate him. She said, "Do you know that you completed 3 months of work in just an hour?" So she
How
did
did that?
motivate.
But how did that help the social part of the child?
Exactly.
Because he still had to socialize with his classmates.
It did.
So how did she help him
It
in that
did.
area?
Eventually, the classmates realized that they needed him. So he became
The
the
tutor.
conduit between the teacher and the work.
Okay.
And so now what happened with the class and the teacher? Now they lost respect for her.
In a sense.
Wow.
Okay? Because she didn't go about it the right way. She singled out this child who showed her up.
Wow.
Don't you think?
In a sense, yes. Yes, she
That
did.
wasn't healthy
Yes.
for the classroom.
That's why they
You
need
have to
teachers like you.
engage. When you're in the classroom, you have to engage all the students.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what level they are at. You have to engage them into what you're doing with the class.
So eventually what he did was he completed, at 13, he had completed all his requirements for math.
Which was good, but you still have to find a way to engage him while you are doing whole group work.
Mm-hmm.
When you're doing whole group work, you cannot take this child and put him aside. When you are ready now to do independent work, then you're going to put the child to do work at his level.
Yeah, but I suppose in her experience, she probably thought that was the best way to deal with him. So, and the good thing is that it never affected him negatively, so that was good in his case.
Yes, that's how.
How are you sure that it didn't affect him negatively? It did
I'm not
affect him negatively. Because what about this, like I asked you, what about the social part of it?
Well, I mean, he got along. I didn't think he had problems with his classmates. I mean, he was always that person who was by. I don't know, probably did. I don't know. As you say, I would have had to.
You don't know.
In retrospect, yeah, I would. In retrospect, I would have to go investigate that.
I'll tell you what, you might not know at this time, but later on, as he gets older, he's going to come back and tell you how it affected him when he was in the classroom and what the teacher did to him.
Yeah. And I probably need to have a conversation with him to see how it did affect him.
Of course, it affected him.
That's true, because something like that happened to one of my nieces.
Yeah, but he'll talk about it one of these days.
Mm-hmm. And I will have a conversation. Now you have opened my eyes, so I will have a conversation with him. Yes.
So teacher Lana has opened up a lot of stuff here.
Of course, because when you have a child like that, the teacher didn't even allow that child to, if I can use the word brag for you to understand, she didn't give that child his moment to brag so that his classmates could understand or realize how gifted he was.
Right.
She shut that child down.
Yeah.
But they did. Eventually they realized that he was
gifted.
What they realized,
eventually. But what did the teacher do to show this child off in her classroom?
Right. I have no idea.
Where was that child's moment? Where was his moment? Did she give that child a moment to really show how much he knew at the time? That he was way ahead?
No, she didn't.
She shut him down.
Yeah. And she put him aside to work by himself.
She put him aside. She shut him down. I would never shut down a child like that in my classroom.
Yeah. I've seen it where the teacher allowed them to take part with the other activities and help the other student along in the classroom. And that's what most of the teachers do. When I was in school, I remember that. Yeah.
But
I remember when I came to this country, and so many people were telling me that I'm not to go into education because it was so difficult. It was not until I met educators at the church and started talking to them and found out. So in the meantime, I started Kaiser College and started out being, studying to be a paralegal. And one day I was in the math class and the teacher was teaching and the students couldn't understand, and I raised my hand and I said, do you mind if I explain? Now remember, I'm a student in the class, right? And these are adults, and the teacher allowed me to. And after explaining and everybody understood it. At the end of the class, she said she wanted to talk to me. So I stayed behind. I was wondering, oh my God, what's the problem here?
I thought you were in
But
trouble.
anyhow, I stayed behind, and she just wanted to talk to me. She said, where did you learn mathematics? I said,
Wow.
Jamaica.
Wow.
You know, so I'm saying that to say that you have to, here it is, I could have been the son you're talking about, but the teacher didn't shut me down. The teacher didn't put me aside. I asked the teacher if I could help. I didn't make her know that I used to teach in Jamaica, and she gave me the opportunity.
Right, and that is true, Lana, because I have experienced something personally. I remember when I was in elementary school, I had a memory that was really, really, really good. And when I was in first grade, I remember when the teachers were teaching you to write script and to write, I was way ahead. And when they give me one reading book, I done memorized the reading book and wanted many, many more. And she realized that, hey, this girl is just crazy. So my first grade teacher was the bomb. I'll never forget her. She sent me to grade 3, prepared me for grade 3. Then I went to grade 4. When I was in grade 4, all the other students in the class were doing common entrance. And so I decided to go to the common entrance class. The person who was in charge of the common entrance class told me that I should come out of our class because I'm too young to do common entrance. I was 8.
The teacher
And
told you
said, come
that's
out of
your
my
base?
Yeah.
The teacher told you that as a student to come out of her class?
Come out of my class, you're taking up space. And you can't do common entrance yet. So come out of my class. Anyway, I didn't go to grade 5, so I went to grade 6, and everybody was doing common entrance. By that time, I was 8 going on 9, and I was doing common entrance. And she said, after I was ready now to do my common entrance, she said, you're not doing no common entrance, you're too young.
Wow.
So after 2 years of doing common entrance classes, I stopped learning.
Ooh, because you were turned off.
When I said I stopped learning, I mean I really stopped learning. I went to the class and I will not put anything in my head anymore. It's like you rebel. I will not learn anything anymore.
Wow.
And I wonder one day.
Okay, listen to what you said. Listen to that strong word that you used.
Rebel.
What was your decision?
She stopped learning.
I will not learn anything anymore.
What's the strong word you just used? What did you decide to do?
Stop learning.
Stop learning. You started rebelling.
Yeah.
And that's why sometimes we have behavior problems in the classroom because teachers don't take the time to know each of their students in the classroom. You have to know your students.
That is true.
Students are all different. So
I'm a girl.
Started rebelling and rebelling. Now, did you become a classroom disruptive behavior?
No, but my rebellion was not to disrupt the class. My rebellion was within myself that I'm not learning anymore. So one day she gave us a test and I didn't score well on the test and she was mad at me. And she was very upset with me that I've been in her class for 3 years now and I don't know how to do the work. And I couldn't tell her, I didn't know how to articulate to say, Miss, I don't want to do this anymore. Wow. So basically, I went ahead and did my common entrance. Of course, I passed common entrance on the first year, but I could have passed at an
earlier age.
Immaculate scores. No. Even would have waited for 3 years and she would have explained to me. I would have passed probably and I probably would have passed earlier, or even if I had to wait, it would have been a case where having that, the way she dealt with me would have been different and I would be able to. I never learned again until I reached university. I'm sorry, I did learn, but I never put any effort into learning again until I reached university.
Wow.
So that's how teachers can turn off students.
Oh.
And that's why I can proudly say,
yes, Ms.
that I cannot think or I cannot imagine a child leaving my classroom not learning, because one of the things I would always say to them is that you must learn something new every day in my class. And if you're not learning something new, then it means that I need to look into myself. What is it that I am not doing? Because
Right.
many times as teachers don't take the time to examine themselves. They want to put the blame on
On
the
the student.
students. Now,
Yeah.
listening to you is an example of what I'm talking about. So the teacher, she prevented you from learning by the attitude that she displayed.
Right.
But
So
then
that
Lana,
teacher,
yeah.
right, you have to examine. So every day before I leave school, I would always sit down and I would examine myself. I would basically reflect on every single class that I taught for the day. What is it that I could have done differently? Was I able to reach every child in my classroom? Did I recognize if a child was having a problem? You know, because sometimes they come to school with baggages. And I don't mean literally a bag,
Yeah.
right? Coming from different homes with different upbringing, but when they come to school, you want them all to behave the same way. They can't behave the same way. So you have to learn how to read their faces and learn how to treat each child differently and make sure that they learn something from your class. But all of this come with you building a relationship. You have to have a relationship, and you have to get the children to trust you. You have to get them to know that you believe in them. And if they know that you believe in them and they learn to trust you, they are going to jump loops. They are going to jump hoops to do for you. Even if they don't want to learn for themselves, they're going to do it just to please you.
That is true.
So true.
But Lana, there is something that I saw on the internet last week about a high school child who graduated and was actually suing the school.
Yes.
I'm not sure if you saw it.
Yes. With a GPA of 3 point something that cannot read.
Yeah, which I still can't understand that. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Wow. Yeah.
Well, it does make sense to me because
I understand that. I've been in school with these kids. Yeah, I understand that.
Yes, they just pass the children through the system. And I tell you when that mostly happen, and it is sad. It is sad because many parents who have children who have learning disabilities, but they are in denial. And so they want their children to be mainstreamed with children who don't have those shortcomings. And so the teachers, no matter how they talk or, with administrators or so, the administrators have a job to do, and these parents are putting pressure on them. So what are they supposed to do? So the teachers don't want to have to deal with it. You give the child, you cannot give them a failing grade, because then you have to answer all kinds of questions. The teachers don't want to be bothered, so they give the parents what the parents want. You want your child to be A students, well, just give them a grade and pass them on, no questions to be answered.
Wow.
It is sad, but it is sad.
The system is what it is.
But that's the reality.
Is what it is. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing with us.
We're not supposed to do that, but hey, it is what it is.
Yeah.
The teachers cannot be held responsible for everything. Parents have to understand, if you have a child that has a learning disability, then your child needs to be in a setting where the child can learn at their own pace and learn as much as they can learn given their learning capacity.
Absolutely.
But you're in denial. The teachers don't have time for that.
That is true. That is true. They have 20 more students in the class that they need to sort out, and they're learning all learning differently. That's correct.
You have to be involved. Once your children are in school, as a parent, you have to be involved. You have to go to the meetings. You have to be a part of everything that they're involved in there.
Now,
you're gonna wrap it up now.
In teaching math, it's a little different. So take, for example, this child who got a 3 point whatever GPA and cannot read. In
Right.
math is different because math is universal. I don't have to teach reading per se
Mhm.
because
To
I'm
teach
teaching
math,
symbols.
right?
Right.
So it's easier for me to teach a child and for a child to get a passing grade in math versus a teacher who is teaching reading.
Mm-hmm.
When a child gets to grade 8 or even in high school and cannot read, if you're a math teacher, you don't have time to stop to teach a child how to read.
Yeah. Wow.
You're teaching math, it's numbers,
Yeah, you're all about
concepts.
numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, Lana, thank you so much for sharing with us. That was very informative, very
Yeah.
interesting. From a woman who is an educator. Thank
Oh,
you so much.
yes. Put some hearts
Well,
in the chat for Lana, guys. Go ahead.
well, thank you so much. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Yes, you're welcome,
Not
my dear.
only, because I've been teaching 42 years and still going. I don't know
Wow.
why. I don't even
Awesome.
know why I'm retired because I don't seem to have enough hours in the day to do everything that I need to get done.
You love what you do, and that's why.
Yes, but I
Yeah.
continue to make a difference in my community
Yes.
by contributing to the development of future generations
Mm-hmm.
with as a major motivator and a constant source of joy. And my time in education was truly a fulfilling and inspiring chapter of my life.
Great.
And I just
Wow.
thank God for giving me the ability to do what I enjoy doing.
Wow. Awesome. We
Thank you
celebrate you today,
so
this
much.
Wednesday.
Thank you, thank you, thank
Thank
you.
you.
You're welcome. And I just want to share 2 quotes before we go. Learn from yesterday, live for today, and hope for tomorrow. Another one,
Okay.
the key to a healthy life is having a healthy mind. Thank you so much for joining us today on our Health and Wellness Day. And we look forward to talking to you next week when we'll have another guest with Dr. Karen Lewis. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for
Thank you
having
so
me.
much. All right,
It
guys.
was my pleasure.
Yes,
Okay.
have an awesome day. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, Karen.